gift.
We're ready.
Are we on?
Gift.
Yes.
It was a gift.
Well, it's a gift to this company.
Yes.
The healthy car is a good car.
Okay, we're not going to wait, so
Yeah.
at 7 we're going to go ahead and start. As far as I know, they'll both be going JC as well. Oh, here they come.
They're waiting for me.
Good evening. Did you see Ed in the parking lot? Okay. Okay, good evening. It's 7 o'clock. Welcome to the Summers Board of Education meeting, Monday, October 27th. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, tonight we want to welcome Dr. Galloway, who's watching the meeting from home. So he had his rotator cuff surgery. He's doing great. He'll be back in sometime this week, so we wish him well. So we'll start off with a motion for approval of minutes from October 14th. From Kim, and a second from Shane. Corrections, additions, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6, and we have 2 abstentions. Okay. Who abstained?
Mike.
Thank you. Okay. Administrative reports. So with the absence of the superintendent, we're going to skip down to number 2. Introduction of student representatives. Jamie?
All right. We have 6 students this year, so we are very excited to introduce them. 5 of the 6 are here. We've decided to put them on a little bit of a rotation so that you will see 3 of them every other month. So 3 and 3. So your October, January, March, and May crew are going to be Carolyn, who you recognize from last year, John Breton, who you should also recognize because he also received an award here last year, and Daniela Prokopsky. And our second group is going to be November, February, April, and June. We have Aiden Rich, Jessica Chen, and Aja Drama. And Aja was not able to be here because of a work schedule change at the last minute. So, but with that being said, this week I'm going to turn it, or this month I'm going to turn it over to Carolyn, John, and Daniela.
All right, so for recent activities we've had at the high school, we've had the pep rally and spirit week where we all kind of got together as a school, showed our spirit. Pep rally, we did things like dodgeball, tug of war, what else we did, relay races. Seniors won, per the usual. They cheated. Seniors won, and then junior second, sophomores third, freshmen fourth, how it should be. And we had the homecoming dance where all the classes came together, raised money for future senior activities. And then we just want to thank all the teachers and all those who helped volunteer for the dance to work out the way it did.
The homecoming dance is a really cool structure, and they started this last year where every class has skin in the game in some way, shape, or form. So like freshmen might sell tickets, and seniors will do the setup, juniors will do the cleanup, and at the end they split out the money that they earn to the different classes by a percentage, and it's 40, 30, 20, 10 by grade level. So as you move up to grade level, you get a higher percentage of the earnings from the dance.
Okay.
So after our homecoming dance, we had our college fair where we had around 70 colleges come, and students of all grades could come and ask questions and talk to people from the school just to learn more about them.
we had our PSATs, which went really well, and we'll get our scores back, I think, in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And we also had our Scarecrow Festival, where juniors and seniors raise money for senior activities, and we did that through making scarecrows, decorating Spooky Barn, and the juniors specifically also had a food booth.
Okay, then we had the EC U.S. History field trip to Boston, where the junior class went to, we walked the Freedom Trail, and we went to Faneuil Hall for lunch, and then we came home pretty early. Then the band marched at the Big E. It was about a mile. We played Seven Nation Army. And then we also played that for the Four-Town Fair Parade. And at the Four-Town Fair, the juniors had a fundraiser. They sold drinks and snacks. And then the seniors also had their annual dunk tank, which went well as well.
Here's some pictures from all of these events.
I'm just going to point out one picture. So these are all of the events, but there's one student that is in there that has his Chromebook in front of him, in the middle and the top. And these are, the high school partnered with Bumpa Built.
Cool.
And we had Bumpa, Adam Rivard, and Justin Felch, and myself throughout the summer. We designed a cell phone holder for the front of our Chromebooks, and that is the image of them being used during a recent algebra test.
And then for some upcoming activities throughout the month, on Thursday, we have a French field trip with our table, where the French students will learn about some French cuisine and get to make some great food.
Also on Thursday, we have the ACM field trip, which is for anyone interested in aerospace. You learn about the manufacturing, basically what it takes to be an aerospace engineer.
Yep. And then Friday we have Mr. N's class who's taking his R&D class, which is their research and development, to Lime Rock. And then also, I think that's Monday, we have the end of the first quarter.
And then the band and chorus, there are about 7 of us for the band that were selected for NCCC, which is basically, it's an honorary band where a bunch of towns get together and they spend about 9 hours practicing and then 9 hours the next day, and then they perform for all the parents and anyone else that wants to.
Then for some sports highlights, boys soccer has their first round at the States this Friday. Girls soccer had a great season, but sadly they did not make it to States.
Yep, girls field hockey made it to States for the first time since 2012, and our game is, we play Thursday against East Catholic, time still to be determined.
And then cross country had their state meet last Saturday, and we had one person qualify for and that's on Friday at 10:45.
That one person is him.
And we also wanted to thank a bunch of parents who read the Spartan Scroll, because our care cabinet was sadly empty, and a bunch of parents made some great donations and filled that back up.
It was like Christmas at the high school today. The Amazon delivery guy came 3 separate times, and every time he came with a cart full of boxes. So the message in the Spartan Scroll was really well received by parents, and we're super appreciative for everything that we received, because I think a lot has changed in the economy, and there are a significant number of families that are struggling right now. And the things that were coming off of our care cabinet shelves are not typical things that we're seeing go away. And now all of a sudden we're ramping up and having to fill up more and more and more.
So is this open to all the students?
Yes, and it's through an anonymous process. So students, there are QR codes throughout the building, and there's also links through our Google Classroom for the school. Students can sign up for what they need out of the care cabinet. They're given a fake name when, like, you might pick up under Blue Lion, and then the student will find the bag with the Blue Lion on it at the end of the day and just grab it. No students' names or parent information or anything is shared. It is completely anonymous.
That's great.
Yeah.
And they're using it, obviously.
And they're, like I said, last week we were almost empty, and Mrs. Stoltz and RCCC run the care cabinet, and Mrs. Stoltz came to me last week highly concerned that we weren't going to be able to keep up with the supply and demand. So we're super appreciative of this. All right. And that is it for nice first job, guys.
All right. Anyone have any questions for the No questions? No, Mike. Mike, your question.
Mike, you always have questions. All right, this always gets put on me. So, there's a lot of great things going on at school. If there was one thing that was missing that you'd like to add that we could be helpful with, what do you think that would be?
I know.
Things are generally happy.
Yeah.
I'm good. Did you hear that?
Things are generally happy at high school.
I'm going to take that as a win.
I would say like any support for anything is just greatly appreciated from all the students and faculty.
All right, we'll just make notes before you're in here next month. And
Right.
When they ask
We're
the
going to have the same
question again.
question.
I'm like a robot. I have
Yeah, each time, we're going to keep asking.
You guys
All right, thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good luck in cross country. Okay, opportunity to add or delete agenda items? All right, seeing none, we'll take a motion for the consent agenda. From Ed, a second. From JT. All right, questions or comments? All those in favor of the consent agenda? That's unanimous. Okay. All right, old business. New business, transfers. Stephanie?
Okay. First quarter transfers were given to the subcommittee week before. So we went over those. Right now, it's a lot of just straightening up accounts that we weren't able to get to, whether it was staff moving around to different locations. That's a summertime thing that typically happens, or just adjustments that need to be made as we started the school year. So if anybody has any questions about specific transfers being made, happy to answer any questions.
All right, so we'll go ahead and approve it. So you can...
motion to approve the Q1 fiscal year 26 Q1 budget transfers.
Okay, second from Carl. Questions on the motion? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Thank you. Those will get put into the system tomorrow, and in the November, you'll see that'll be the first the column that has the adjustments on it. Ready for CIP?
Yep.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
So in front of you tonight, we have the 4 CIP projects that we would like to put towards the CIP committee. They'll start hearing about those projects in the coming months. The first one is Phase 2 of the boiler replacement at SES. There's an estimate cost based on Phase 1, which we budgeted $60,000 for. We asked for approval from the CIP committee and Board of Finance for $60,000 in the first phase of the boiler replacement. So this would just be Phase 2. And this would be the replacement of 12 of the boilers at Summers Elementary School. And then we'll have a third phase next year, which will finish it up. So that is I think this is first warning, right? First posting of these, so we're not voting on these tonight.
No, just kind of explanation.
Yep. The field mower, the maintenance department has put forward a request to replace our field mower. We tend to do a lot of repairs on it, and it's getting older, and they wanted one that had a little bit wider of a bed. Yeah. I don't know landscaping. I rely on you guys for that. That thing. So they're hoping that with wider, one of those, it will get the job done a little bit quicker, because we take care of all the fields here by MBA, and then some of the fielding behind the high school we share with the town. The town does some of the baseball fields, but we do the rest.
And that one's been in the plan for this year.
The field mower we knew about last year.
Right.
It was proposed last year. We bumped it down.
To go into next year.
Yep.
So that's not new. Yep.
And the boiler was not new. That was also part of the 5-year.
Yep.
These two that from the middle school are new. We did not know about these, but the principal at the middle school is proposing, every year we go and do a walkthrough with the fire department just to go through all of our buildings, make sure everything is safe and that they're good with everything. The fire marshal did point out that the asphalt sidewalk, which is in the alcove right outside this music room, he's concerned about it. So I said, we'll put it towards CIP and see what they say. It needs to be ripped out and repaved. So we can put that forward.
So that's a safety.
That's a safety concern. Yep. And then the last request for this coming year is the dividing curtain at the MBA gym. Right now it is a solid, and they pull it across, but it doesn't function properly. And to put in the repair cost, I'm going to estimate is probably about half as much as just replacing it with a curtain that would have some mesh at the top and then a vinyl bottom. And that would allow them to split the gym in half. So the principal there put in a request to have that go to CIP, and that's $27,000. So if you have any questions about any of these after you review them, feel free to email Dr. Galloway or myself, and we will get you answers before the next board meeting, when you'll probably be putting those forward or deciding not to put something forward.
All right, and the details are in the packet. If you didn't have time, you can...
The form, the main form is in the packet. I have some quotes and such that I have, and so I'm happy to...
If they need additional information.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll vote on it next meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. I've also included, I believe, the draft of our 5-year plan in your packets for review. If there's anything in the future that we think that we want to kind of move around, or if we want to consider adding to our 5-year plan, we can make that change, and then we can vote on that 5-year plan. And the CIP committee last year did request a copy of our 5-year, which I provided to them, so I would probably propose to do that again to keep them informed.
Sounds good.
So we vote on the 5-year or just the 1 year?
Just the 1 year.
You're just going to vote on the 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a discussion item for the 5-year.
Yeah.
And we'll put that forward in the next board meeting to vote on those projects. And then it was requested that I provide an update on some of our past projects. So last year in 24-25, we had just one approved CIP project, was the hallway cabinets at SES. I'm sure many of our SES parents recall walking down the hallway and there being open shelving, where a lot of our learning materials were stored, and that was considered a fire hazard. So we had done, just as I had started here, we had done a bunch of really nice cabinetry in part of the school, and it just cleans things up a lot. And so we went ahead and asked for the rest of the school to have that cabinetry done, which the CIP committee approved, and we did that last year. I think that it looks wonderful in there now. Everything is behind closed doors, especially with all the new reading materials that we have with CKLA. We cleaned up a lot of stuff, and then we're able to store those materials outside of the classrooms. There was a painting project for SES that was also proposed last year, or for 24-25. We tabled that at CIP. It became recommended to go through the HVAC project because they were going to be doing the HVAC project in there. We might as well just wrap it all up into that. I'm unsure where that stands at this moment with that project, but we'll either have to do it through that, or someday we'll have to propose it and it will be part of our 5-year plan. But I don't think anybody really wanted to put it on the 5-year plan until we knew what was going on. So that's where that stands. This year's CIP projects that were approved. We had the library upgrade approved at the high school. We did the painting in-house in that space. Took all the shelving. Tenley took all of the shelving and cabinetry out before the summer, at the end of the school year. We painted. I know that there's some touch-up, which Dr. Reckenberg might talk about, or you. It just needs some extra touch-up, right?
Yeah, they put on the second coat on Friday.
Oh, okay, great. And then we have the cabinetry and all the book shelving on order, so we're just waiting for that to come in, and then once that all comes in, then we'll be able to re-shelf the books.
Any estimate on arrival?
I thought that we were supposed to get them in October, but I don't think that they've arrived yet.
Nope.
I'm not sure if Tenley has an update on delivery.
The last update that I had was supposed to be this week. I do know that she did get a little bit of a pushback date, but I don't know what the new date is.
Okay. I can find out.
It was
So then
only
what
like a week.
happened? Where are all the books now?
In boxes?
In boxes.
That's what I thought,
Like,
okay.
yeah.
So,
Back rooms
do we
and
have a
closets.
crew that will be able to get them all on the shelves quickly, or?
Well, the
Sounds like
shelves are gonna have to be built and
Right, put together,
assembled and.
right.
and-
Oh, right,
Right.
assembled.
What's really nice about the new shelves is that they're mobile, so Tenley
right.
can roll them up to where she has the books. All of the books are really sorted and placed strategically throughout the media center, so she's able to, things that are gonna go together are already boxed
Organized.
together. And she's really, really good at having students out, so she does get a good number of students.
Probably a great community service project.
Okay, great.
So that is the status on the CIP library project. The second project that we had was the transfer switch at SES. We are working on that. We actually came in under budget on that. I've already reported to CIP that we will be saving money on that project. We saved about $8,000, which is fantastic. And it's coming in sooner than we anticipated. We thought 15 weeks. It should be here before Christmas break. And so they are hoping to get it all installed and working before the winter break is here, which would be great. That's more of a scheduling thing. If we can get it done before winter break, you've got to shut down the power to the school, install it, and then re-energize the building. And obviously can't have staff and students in the building when that happens. So we're just trying to figure out when it gets here, when we can schedule it to be done. And then the last CIP project was the first phase of the SES boilers. We have requested a project manager that has worked for us before on the boiler project and the oil tank project over at the high school. So we've asked him to give us a revision on scope of work to make sure that we are clear with what we need. And because there's 4 boilers that handle the hot water, and then there's 2 that just handle the heat in the building. And so we just want to make sure that we get the best one for those jobs.
Okay.
So that's the status on that. So I'm just waiting for an updated scope of work. And then that one will go out to bid.
Sounds good.
Okay? Any questions?
Questions for Seth?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I think I have the last thing. You also received in your packet the 26-27 budget approval process for our board policy.
Yep.
So in the conversation with the budget subcommittee, we discussed dates that the budget subcommittee would be available to meet to discuss. Of course, those are open to anybody to attend. So we'll discuss the budget as we're going, and then Sam will present the budget in January for discussion through February, and then the Board of Ed will vote to put a budget through by the second meeting in February. We'll have our public hearing, I think it's March 9th. That'll be our public hearing in our right before our regularly scheduled board meeting, and then once the board approves the budget, it will go to the town, and those dates are yet to be determined. But I will, of course, fill you in as soon as I have them.
All right, and we have a motion ready to go to follow policy 3110.
A motion to approve the 2026-2027 budget approval process per DBS code 3110.
Okay, and a second to the motion. From Shane. All right, any questions on the board policy? Just basically saying we need to get a schedule ready. Okay, all those in favor? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we have 6 postings, first postings for the new courses, coming from the curriculum committee. So if you have any questions on those, you can contact Jan. Anything you want to comment on? They're all in the packet.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good things going here. All look good.
Including welding.
Yep,
Right.
I took welding here.
You do?
Dave Wood.
All right.
This welding is a little bit different.
Yeah.
I don't think it's listed perfectly in here, but this welding would be for a credential from
Yeah.
Asnuntuck.
Good.
We already offer a regular welding class.
Okay. All right, we'll move into committee reports. Curriculum.
No meeting schedule.
Okay. Policy, we met tonight, and we'll have several policies we'll post at the next board meeting. So we're trying to kind of finish up the CABE updates before the end of November, and I think we're on schedule. So our next meeting will be November 11th at 6:15 p.m. Planning Finance, you have your date.
Yep, so our first budget special meeting is on December 1st. It's at 5 p.m., right?
Yep. All right. Salary negotiations.
No meeting scheduled at this time.
Okay. And Building Committee. So tonight, we have Bill Meyer asked to come and present to board. Bill is chair of the Building Committee for the HVAC project. So Bill, I'm going to welcome and turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. So I wanted to just provide a brief update to the board and certainly answer any questions if anyone had any. We've been meeting twice a month, working to move the project forward. You know, we had a few setbacks going back a couple of years now, you know, where we had an initial estimate, we had received a grant, the money that was allocated wasn't enough to get the project done. We went back on an additional appropriation. We actually went to bid in February. The bid came back, I think, about $1.5 million more than the appropriation, the extra appropriation. So we kind of went back to the drawing board. We brought a new owner's representative. We're now working with STV instead of Colliers. It's a new group. The committee, I think, so far, I mean, Ann, you're on the committee as well, chime in. Been very happy, I think, with the work of STV. It's an actual architectural firm. We've never had an architect involved before, so we do now. We've really been working still with CES, the engineers, and we asked them to come back and redesign. Keeping in mind the budget, keeping in mind what we're trying to accomplish, you know, minimal disruption to the school. We don't want the school to be a construction zone for 2 years where ceilings are ripped out and children are displaced and it's very disruptive to learning. We want to have something that hopefully can be done over summers, as least disruptive as possible. We want to be able to get air conditioning in all the classrooms. We want to be able to do all the common spaces as well. The updated design, the committee's reviewed it, I think has so far reacted favorably to it, and looks like it's going to fit within the budget. We're meeting with the principal tomorrow from the elementary school. We've invited her to the building committee meeting to kind of run it by her, get her feedback. The other issue we've run into is the original grant. So the original grant, I think Chairman Kirkpatrick has shared this with the board. December 2026, the state put a hard deadline on it. We cannot get the project done by December of 2026. We've requested an extension. The state has declined it. So we're essentially going to have to send back that original grant and not accept it, which means we have to apply for a new grant. So we've started that process. The building committee, the board of selectmen, we've authorized a lot of that to move forward. We're putting together the application. It's a little bit more involved, but we're making some pretty good progress, and we'll be waiting on the state and their decision. But we feel that we qualify for the funding, and it's really, it's a matter of going through the process with these types of applications. They essentially automatically get approved by the state. They're eligible projects. We meet the criteria. We get it based on our reimbursement. So more to come there. But I think we're going to be filing that application probably in the next 6 weeks or so, is the hope. So.
Hey, Bill, before you jump, I know it's probably a pain to refile, but isn't that a good thing since the initial funding was based on a number that wasn't really enough to cover the cost?
So that's the advantage. So now we can apply for the grant based on the new cost, and we could also give more time to complete the project. So now we should have another 3 to 4 years to get it done. We're hoping it doesn't take that long, but if we need it, the time is there. There's always the kind of like punch list things, on these jobs, and there's a lot of electrical work. There's a lot of
Sure. Bill, what is the timeline? If they're going to do it in only summers, what is the timeline to get that project done?
So we're hoping 2 summers, with maybe some night, weekend break work in between. But that's some of the work that STV and the committee are going through. But this new design is a lot less invasive. The original design, you remember, was going to rip out all the ceilings in the whole building. I attended the walkthrough, and a lot of the contractors saying, why are we ripping out all these ceilings like this? And then you're going to have students walking around for a year with wide open ceilings. This design avoids that. It's a lot more wall penetration. It's a lot more external wiring and stuff.
This is for the mini splits?
It's going to be mostly, in classrooms, mostly mini splits.
And does that, I know we've talked about this before, does that address the airflow issue, which I know was the first priority of why we were doing this project?
So they say it does. There's 2 things, actually there's 3 or 4 things going on in the classroom. Number 1, there's exhaust fans in every room which move air in the ceiling. There's operable windows, and then combined with the mini splits, we're being told by the engineers, the architects, the team, that it's going to meet the state's requirements, the IAQ requirements. And the other districts have successfully done similar projects like this.
But are we not flowing in fresh air?
It's just a different way. The original project, the DAOS system, is kind of like the outside air exchanges and that. This is a different technology for the classroom spaces. The big spaces are going to have that DAOS.
They will.
The exchanges, the CAF, the auditorium, the gym, but the classroom spaces are going to be the mini split type design.
So with the new grant, Bill, does that cover the same percentage as it did in the old grant? Or has the percentage changed that they
Stephanie may know, they just redid the numbers. The state just came out, 2 weeks ago with new numbers?
I think it was like a month ago.
Okay.
But, it's based on the year that you apply for the grant, and we have shifted slightly. I think originally we were at 59% or 58.5%. I think we're at 60% now.
Oh, it's even gone up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
if we can get this in by December, then it'll be 25 grant. If we can't get it until January, then it'll be 26.
Okay.
And when's the target to start?
I'm sorry?
When's the target to start the project? Let's say the grant goes through, everything goes.
Some of it's going to depend on the state, right? So we've been told you need the approval of the state before you can go to bid. So we need to submit the grant, we need to get the grant approved. They're supposed to give us a decision, I think, within 45 days, the state, from submitting the application. After that, we go to bid. The nice thing is the work that's been done, we already have a full design. We already have essentially a bidder's manual. We already have it all ready to go. So they tell us that once the state approves it, we can pretty much go to the street. But the danger is if we go to bid before the approval, it becomes ineligible for the grant.
So we're 3 months before we can go to bid.
But the idea will be to start June 1st. We want to get this summer in.
Yeah.
And I think when we put the bid out, it would be with the intention of starting June 1st. But our intention also is not to require the 5th grade to move. That's the idea, would be to keep all the students in the elementary school in place for the duration of the project.
So couldn't we have used, I know you said another 6 weeks for the grant writing, can't we use what's already been done? Haven't you done it twice, Stephanie?
I have done it twice.
Can't we use that same, I don't know if that speeds it up at all, if we use what she's submitted before?
We can. They're different applications. So the IAQ application that Stephanie did was kind of a one-time special, unique, it was actually a competitive grant. These are not competitive grants. They're done by state law through the bonding commission. Like this requires like a space standard analysis, the ed spec, some of those things. I mean, Stephanie does have a lot of it, but I think we're just, now that we've done the redesign, we got to make sure, and then we're going to have a new budget too.
Yep.
But it's going to be a lot quicker, to your question. If we were starting from scratch, you'd be looking at probably 3-4 months. It would have to go back in front of this board. It would have to go in front of the Board of Selectmen again, Board of Finance. We need to go back out to referendum. All those things are done. We're going to use the same referendum, the same approvals we've already received, and just resubmit.
Does it have to get re-voted on?
I think we're going to get a formal legal opinion, but we believe it does not. We believe that the existing appropriation gives the Board of Selectmen the authority to move forward with a new grant. So,
I guess my other question, sorry, is
No, go ahead.
why just summers? Like, what, is it, so it's not possible to do any of this, when, I feel like a few weeks ago we talked about split work could be done without disrupting, during the school year, without a lot of disruption. Is that not the case?
well, I think it will be on the table. It'll be up to working with the superintendent and the principal to just see what, I mean, we want to get it done as soon as we can.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, what works.
Yeah.
Schedule, disruption, costs.
Right. I mean, I guess I'm just not familiar enough. I don't know if I owned my own construction company or whatever, whoever's going to do it, putting a bid out for 2 summers. I don't know. How does that work? Like, how do they price it? If it's one summer, then we're not doing any other work until the next summer.
Well, you got to remember, the original project was 24 months, 26 months, so you
Right.
price it the same way.
Yeah. Okay.
We think we're going to do better here because we learned some lessons with the first bid. We're still going to do the controls, and we think like we're going to get a better controls package here now. We think with the mini splits, like you said, it's going to be a little less disruptive, maybe allow some work to happen during the school year. We want to provide as much information as timely as possible. The plan could still change. We haven't, look at how many times it's changed already. I think we want to get the job done. I think we have a team together. I think the new team, we feel pretty confident in this new group, STV, and...
Well, I probably shouldn't ask this. Why CES again when they jam this up so bad?
So, we're still working with Gilbane as well. It's a small state. There's not a lot of firms that do this mechanical engineering work. My personal feeling, I have not seen any real issues with CES. I think the issue we have with CES was we asked them to do work outside of their scope. They're an engineering firm. They're not a project management firm. They're not architects. They don't do complete projects. They do designs. Really, the piece that was missing, I think, originally was having a group like Colliers or STV working side by side with CES to kind of give us the whole picture. So that was some of the...
The design was good.
Yes.
But the estimator
Yes.
overpriced it. But they're still saying the design itself was good.
Everyone has liked the design.
Yeah.
But, I have the same feelings you do.
Yeah.
We did dismiss Colliers.
Yeah.
They were dismissed formally by the Board of Selectmen. We terminated the contract with them. We were not happy with their work. And, we have this new group. That was a good one.
CES was the first one, the very first one?
First one.
Or were they the
This is the design.
So and they gave us the original estimate that we went to the town with that wasn't even in the ballpark of what it was going to cost.
And then Gilbane was the engineer guy.
Gilbane's the builder.
the general
contractor. Oh.
Gilbane was
The engineer was CES.
Oh, well,
So they
we liked that
designed
guy,
it.
didn't we?
No,
We liked
It's the other way around.
What? Am I
Gilbane was Nick, right?
forgetting?
Was his name?
Gilbane was Nick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Was there a explanation behind why there was a preference to replace the ductwork in the school versus the mini-split system?
Yes.
Can we get that explanation? Because we as a board had addressed this up front and got a lot of pushback. And then we had to go with the reluctant plan
of popping out all the tiles, opening up the roof, wasn't ideal. And I think that led to probably very high quotes, because when you're quoting a job like that and you're opening things up, that is a recipe for disaster. You're going to find new things. So everybody pads their quote assuming they're going to run into a problem, and we lost a lot of time in that process. So do you mind sharing that explanation on why that was the preference and why all of a sudden we're gung-ho about the mini split system over AC?
Well, I mean, I think we have a lot more information now. You know, I'm not sure that all the right people were at the table before. You know, I mean, the preference, AC versus, it's really hard when you have a building built in the 50s to retrofit an HVAC system like you described with all the ductworks and things.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're talking about PCBs, you're talking about other contaminants, you're talking about just having the ceilings open. I mean, there's a lot of issues, you know, I don't know, there's a lot of issues. And it's very disruptive. I think that, I think this is compliant. You know, we've gotten expert opinions on this. You know, we're working with a mechanical engineer, we're working with a licensed architect. These are all going to be stamp prints. They're all going to meet state IAQ guidelines. And, you know, we're going to get a sign-off that we're fully compliant.
We get that before we do the project, right?
Well, they're going to guarantee that the end result, because we wouldn't be eligible for reimbursement if, so the state's going to review the project, the plans,
Okay.
and they're going to give us the blessing to move forward. But we wouldn't get the state money if it wasn't eligible.
Okay.
So, the last meeting that Gil Baines attended, I asked him to guarantee the 15.2, that we were going to the referendum back to ask for the extra money. You remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
And I wanted money back.
Great.
If the quote wasn't good enough. What guarantees do we have here, Bill? What guarantees can we get that the money quoted now is sufficient and that we are going to get the grant? What guarantees can we build in?
I mean, I think there's a couple different things going on here, right? There's the appropriation from the referendum, the $15 million.
Which Gil Baines promised us would be way more than enough.
Yeah. And I think you've probably watched the Board of Selectmen meetings. I asked the same questions there that you asked here.
Yeah.
And, you know, the bids went out at a really bad time. I mean, February, they said, was probably the worst time to go to bid. It was when all the tariff stuff started, the markets panicked, everyone went nuts. You know, we're hoping things have come back down to earth a little bit. I think they have. I mean, are there any guarantees in life? No. But I think with this cost estimate, I mean, honestly, and I hate to say this publicly, I'm hoping we're around 10 million with this, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. So,
just Gil Baines has seemed like a very bad partner to work with as well. I'm glad that we fired Colliers. I hope if other superintendents are listening, they will not use them. They were a horrible representative for us. This project has been dragging on for 2 years now. Due to the fact that CES, Gil Baines, and Colliers couldn't get their act together, and I would just want to see it come to a completion. The people working in that building and the students that are learning in that building deserve to have better quality air than what they have today, and it's well past due. And as a board, I think we feel a responsibility to deliver that for the students and the staff. So anything you can do as committee chair to push that along is welcomed, for sure. What about the grant? A little more surrounding that.
Yeah.
Is it a shoo-in? Is it... I mean, the last one was a competitive bid, and you said this is not competitive.
These are not competitive.
Yeah,
So this is a regular, so there's priority grant and then non-priority grants. This would fall into non-priority.
Non-priority.
Non-priority. And but they review these every month, the state. And then if it's a qualified project, it gets funded. So we're hoping to get a decision very quickly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I agree to your points with Gil Baines. Just to be clear, the Board of Selectmen has only signed a pre-construction contract with them. They do not have a contract for the construction management. We're looking at all options. It may be a general contractor, it may be a construction manager. If they can't perform, you know, we could go back out to bid for a new CM. We are not under contract with Gilbane, other than the pre-construction services.
All right.
So,
That's good.
Yes.
Keep that option open.
Definitely.
That may lead to better performance. What's the date the application's gonna get submitted?
I don't see it being, so the non-priority grants open the first of every month, and they are open for 10 days, and then they close and they get reviewed. I don't see that happening next week for November, because I'm still collecting information for Angela from STB. And there's more to the school construction grant than there was for the HVAC grant, so there may be paperwork that has to be signed off on by various players that did not have to be done for HVAC. So I'm hoping, and I think the committee is probably hoping for December 1st, and I'll have from December 1st to December 10th. It's a online, same exact system that the HVAC grant, so Sam and I will have to get in there and upload the required documentation and information that the state requires, and then we find out shortly after. This grant moves much faster than the HVAC. HVAC, I applied in December, and we didn't find out until April or May, and that was because that was just a different grant process.
Here, we'll probably know by February 1st.
January.
I would hope so, but with the holidays, I don't know.
Yeah.
And if they want to meet with us before, I don't know if they meet with us before they grant it, Bill, or during that process.
There's been a lot, I think the superintendent's spoken about it at meetings, there's been a lot of transition with the Office of Grants at the state. I guess a lot of, they're difficult to work with, I guess is what I'd say. I mean, they don't respond to emails, they won't meet with districts anymore. You know, 3-4 years ago, you used to email them and say, hey, can we have a meeting? They'd get on the phone with you, they'd get on a Zoom, they would kind of walk you through it, they'd answer your questions. They won't do it anymore. And it's been very frustrating and frankly makes it more difficult. Superintendents have complained. I know it's probably, all they've done is just send out emails saying be patient. I think Dr. Galloway was one of the ones that complained, and literally this is the email out saying, be patient, we're really busy. I mean, that was the email.
Yeah, is that when they wouldn't even answer the phone?
Right.
Yes, exactly.
They've gone through like 3 or 4 commissioners in the last few years.
But you saw the corruption trial that just happened. I mean, that was that same office. So there's been, I mean, for good reason, there's been a lot of reform there, a lot of changes. But it's made it very difficult because we're trying to move the ball forward. I mean, this committee, we've done a lot. I mean, we did a complete redesign with CES of the whole project in 4 weeks. The plans are done. They've been reviewed. I mean, like, we're ready to go. So, want to move forward.
And are we taking into consideration the maintenance requirements that come with having a mini-split system versus AC? Do we get any sense of what we're in for in the long term? It was a point that was brought up. I forget who had brought it up, but it was a good point. Like, we're probably going to be facing a lot more maintenance. I think mini-splits is a common sense approach, but at the same time,
We'll have to plan for like filter changes, and there's going to be probably more tax on the system for electrical. We're going to have to figure all that out once they're all installed and operable. If we're going to do a 2-summer thing, it's going to be 2 budget seasons from now. We're going to have to start thinking about what that looks like in our maintenance budget.
Okay. Yeah, because as I'm thinking about it, maybe that would work out well for us if we staggered it too, right? Maybe you got 50% done in one summer, 50% done. Now you're staggering the maintenance cost too.
But you're probably only going into operation after the entire project is done.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so everything will be installed, but you won't flip the switch until
You can't flip the switch until it's ready to go.
Gotcha.
Some of that, we're looking, I mean, lead times, like with electrical stuff, that's part of it. You know, because like, to Stephanie's point, you have to have the electrical stuff in place. But if we can get the electrical stuff done for this summer, we'd like to. It just depends on, you know, it's going to be pads and things we got to pour or bring in. It's a lot of electrical. I mean, it's what, 1.8 million in electrical or something? It's a lot of electrical work.
So I'm assuming that they would buy all the mini splits at once. Yes?
We haven't decided yet.
Okay. If they do, where are they stored? If it's going to be, are we responsible for storing them? Does the construction company store them until they're put in?
Typically, they will be responsible for procuring them and storing them. But again, it'd be a conversation. I mean, I think we want to be mindful of price, and, you know, sometimes it makes sense, like to Kim's point, you know, you're doing it over 2 summers. If you can get a locked-in price and we buy them all in year 1, and store them. I mean, there's ways. I did this on another project where we bought roofing materials, we stored it. You got to work through your insurance. You got to work through a couple of things, but it's doable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all the options are on the table.
About how many? How many splits?
64 spaces, 65-ish spaces. Yeah.
Are we going to utilize them for heating and air conditioning? Are we going to switch? Because typically those systems offer both. Are we going to shut down the boiler and use?
No, they'll be supplemental. So the boiler would be the boilers would be the primary heat for the building. But we're going to do the building management system, the controls as well.
Okay.
So the controls would do, but we're still working the details. I mean, do we tie the splits into the controls? I don't think we've decided that yet. There's pros and cons, I'm told. I mean,
well, at the residential level, the move is you put solar panels on your roof, you get to switch everything to mini split, and you don't have a utility bill at home. You just have a fixed price that you pay per month for the panels, and the panels power all the mini split systems. Then now you have heating and cooling, and it cancels it out. And with, I believe, the roof replacement on deck 3 years from now, could be a consideration.
Yeah.
Just food for thought while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And then that would save us a ton of money in utility costs. Or maybe I have no idea what I'm in for. Steph has got a comment.
We have solar on that roof, but we are under contract until 2032.
Okay.
With those solar panels.
And we're going to be working around those when we're doing the roof
Yeah, we're
replacement?
just doing,
Okay.
we're just doing coding.
Gotcha.
To get us through until we're done with the contract on those solar panels, and they can come off the roof, and then we can replace the roof.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I'm glad that we're doing mini splits. Just wish we did that first. Just seems like the most obvious, but it is what it is.
Bill, to your point, too, it seems like, so it's like the airflow, what Kim was saying, like that's the initial reason, right? And it makes sense in the spring and summertime, maybe in the fall, to run, not summer, but you know, I mean, the hotter months to run it, and the AC will get you that airflow. But maybe you just mentioned like the whole, like internal control, one switch controls them all. It seems like you'd have to do that in the wintertime. I mean, if they're not heating the rooms and they're not getting used, does that solve the airflow issue?
You guys are getting way too technical for me.
Well, I guess.
You're right.
You don't want to come back later and be like, well, we only got 60% of the issue done here.
No, they're good questions. So I think that's some of the work. And Angela, we could bring Angela in. Like if there were specific questions, I think like Angela Cahill or Brian Hamill from CES, who you met, I think would be the ones. I just don't want to give you a wrong answer.
I remember Brian did his thing too, and it showed like an air circulation diagram. That made sense.
And we've gone back and forth on some of these things a few times. I'm not exactly sure where we landed on some of it, so I don't want to misspeak, but I know our intention is to do the entire. So you have pneumatic controls now, you know, air pistons that open and close things, heat controls and stuff. Get rid of that. Those are problematic. Put automated modern electric building management system in. That's part of this project, a big part. And then do the cooling of the spaces and the air circulation and how it all ties together. I think we're still trying to figure out.
That's fair.
You know, because then there's the exhaust fans in the rooms that I think get tied into the building management system. There's a lot to it. Yeah. And, you know, if you have a specific question, too, like we can email Angela or Brian and get an answer as well, if we need to.
We did talk about the individual controls.
Yeah.
The teachers will be able to control their
Definitely. They definitely will. That's the key. Yes.
The whole thing.
But they did an indoor air quality study, right, where they studied the actual physical each room, right? They measured air movement, air quality of that exact space, right? So we have that report, and I think they designed something based on what that school says, which is different than another school. They went over the middle school or went to a different town.
I'm not an HVAC technician, but if those units aren't on, it's not going to change anything. right?
You're talking with like the air changes per hour and those
Yeah, like in the
things?
Like, if
wintertime,
they're
right?
not, right.
They're not heating,
Like,
they're not
from
on.
October to May, if that machine's not running, then we're gonna have the same airflow that we have today, which is not compliant.
I think you said there's exhaust fans too, though.
But they're already there.
Just an exhaust, not a.
It's not an air, it doesn't circulate the air.
Well, you said supplemental.
It is.
Because you can't turn the heat on, it offers forward.
But it's not bringing in new air, which is the issue that we have.
It's a very interesting conversation because all of these standards are really for new building construction. You know, so if you build a new building, there's, you know, the ASHE standards, you know, for how often you have to exchange it, the filtration and everything. For retrofits, there's really, you know, I mean, to try and bring a building from the 50s up to the standard of a building that you will build in 2025, they don't measure it the same way, essentially.
I know, but I'm not necessarily worried about measuring, I'm worried about getting the students and the teachers the air quality they need,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, to do it the right way is probably a $20 million project, and we just don't have the money.
Well, it was just bid at 16, can't be 20, you know what I mean?
Oh, there's escalation. Yeah.
We're aware.
Yeah.
We're aware.
It's gone up, they've already told us
But
to
with more
expect
delays
20.
comes more escalation.
So what happened, they already said to expect 20% more on the VRF because the refrigerant now is got changed as of January 1st. So now if you're going to go to the new refrigerant, it's 20% more. So we're going to push 20, I think. And then once you start ripping those ceilings open and you start fighting all these other conditions in a building built in the 50s.
I thought you just said 10 though. Didn't we say 10?
Well, with the splits.
Oh, you're saying the other way.
Yeah, the original way. This new design, that's how we landed at this new design, just to fit the budget. So.
Appreciate it again, not directing those questions at you so much, more so like the team, Gilbane, SVF, and then CES. So remember when we were sitting here and CES wasn't present, and we were asking Nick from Gilbane, like, how did they botch this up so bad with their quote? And they're just sitting there just like, well, we don't know. So I think in some ways, like that question we were just talking about, like, do you turn on in the wintertime? It seems like a silly question, but, and then hopefully those guys had the answer to it, but at the same time, some things were overlooked in the past, that, you know.
Yeah.
So not a reflection on you more so.
Yeah.
No, we're thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the other proposal was to only do classrooms and not do all the common areas. And I think a lot of people felt that wasn't a great, you know, not do the gym, not do the auditorium, not do the cafeteria. I mean, it's hard to tell parents, families, taxpayers, hey, we just spent $15 million and we didn't do a third of the building. You know?
I wish we would have gotten some money back from CES or Gilbane though. I wish we were more aggressive about pursuing legal action against those companies, Colliers do. That could have funded some of the overage in the bid. And if there's any way for us to still do it, I would suggest we explore that.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you, yes.
Okay, so CIP we already covered. Anything from Craig?
No updates at this time.
Okay. SEF, anything, Shane?
No updates.
Okay. Advanced calendar was in your red folder. Veterans Day Assembly is at the high school this year. So if anyone's around, 9 o'clock for Mabel Avery in the high school, 9:30 for the elementary school. Okay. All right, audience, the citizens, staff, students. Lisa.
Regarding the whole HVAC question, I think Shane was talking about, and Bill, that if you have electric, either and/or solar mini splits for both AC and heat, I don't know anything. I'm a widow. I barely manage my home infrastructure on my own, but how, if you were relying on splits for AC and heat, how do you heat your water? would you still need a burner for that part?
Yeah, different system.
Okay. Can you provide an org chart of all the companies that are involved, the players keep changing? So like, I know that you said an architecture firm, is that STV? And then there was a mechanical engineer and a GC. How many people are involved? Organization?
I don't know, I mean, the chair is running the meeting, I don't know how we run I don't know how you handle, I mean, you don't typically have a conversation between two audience members, so I just want to make sure we hold.
So, we've got a number of them. So we have the design company that we're still using to do the design. Gilbane is involved, but we have not signed a contract with Gilbane to do the project.
They're the design company, or they're the architect?
They're the
Gilbane is a construction company.
They'll do the work.
Construction is Gilbane. I'm just trying to understand the players, because my ultimate questions are, first, which of the players signs off on, gives us certainty that the plan as installed satisfies state IAQ standards? Which one? Is it the architect? Is it we get a guarantee before this work starts, when this is installed as designed, it will meet state standards?
CES, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Will someone give that guarantee?
Will they guarantee
That it's compliant.
that it's compliant?
Before we do it.
Yeah, the state will have to approve that, yes, before we get the money. That's why this is more involved.
So the state's going to look at it and say, you're all good.
They have to say that it meets all the criteria.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
And then the last question was, within the org chart, who presents the building committee with the final plan that has numbers attached that produces the overall cost, and whoever that is that says, here's the final detailed plan, here's the cost. That's still an estimate, because I assume they aren't sending it out to a quiet bid to get solid estimates for cost. So do they tell you what their track record is of conforming their estimated final cost with how bids will come in? Like, do they say, you know, when we tell you this final plan is going to cost, I'm sure it's stamped estimate, but do they say what their track record is for, when we give you this estimate, our experience shows that bids come in that or under X percent of the time?
That'll all come under what the building committee decides what they're going to require when they're talking to this, if that answers your question. That doesn't come through the Board of Ed. That'll all go through the building committee. Anything else? Or anybody else? Okay. All right. If that's the case, we will take a motion to adjourn. And we need a second from JT. All those in favor? All right, meeting adjourned, 8:03. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.